Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. We're having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra JoJo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Hope you guys are ready to get this day started. Hope you had a good day on yesterday. Hope you enjoyed the show yesterday. Let me share this show right fast. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. If y'all missed the show yesterday, we had a good time. We talked about Proud Mary, Keep On Rolling. That was good. I enjoyed that show yesterday. It was really good. Talked about Proud Mary. And we have to move and grow inch by inch. And don't allow your pride to stop you from taking the smallest of steps. Why be so proudful that you refuse to take little steps when little steps are all that you can do? In any movement you're doing, you got to be patient, know where you're going, and understand the significance of your journey. Then your inch by inch, you begin to understand that the important thing is that you always have room to move. There's always movement, period. So that was a good show yesterday. So make sure you check that out. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. Let me share this. To the Fearless Morning Show page. So welcome. My name is Yamitra JoJo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Y'all let me know if this is because on my end it's saying the video has interrupted. Did it stop for you guys too? Let me try again. Then we're going to get started. All right. Here we go. The quote of the day, y'all. This is a good one. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. My internet is acting up, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if we can get everybody else back. So that's the quote of the day. The thought of the day is, I said what I said. Let's see if it's working on the other end, y'all. Let's see if it's going over here. All right. Quote of the day. Let's try this one more time. Try this one more time. Quote of the day. If we acquire the habit of always meaning, thank you, Kiba. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. So I love that quote, and it kind of go hand in hand because I said what I said. That's the thought of the day. Oftentimes, I am so guilty of this. I am careless with my words. And when we are careless with our words, we say things and then we have to come back and apologize and say, I'm sorry, or I didn't mean it. We have to realize that our words have meanings and they carry weight. Your words carry weight. Just like you speak life and death, which is true, you've got to be responsible for the things that fall out of your mouth. Some people open up their mouth and stupid falls out. And that's just about as good as it's going to get for them. but we have a responsibility. If we are working on ourselves, if we're on this growth journey, wherever you're going, whatever you want to call this, you have a responsibility now of not only growing, but being more responsible about what you say, how you say it, and what you say. Because as we build in our character, our words, we are speaking them, right? We are speaking the change that is happening inward. Like my conversation is different than what it was years ago. My conversation is different than what it was when I began this journey 16 years ago. My conversation is totally different. When I began this journey 16 years ago, and I call it a journey, you can call it a life change, you can call it whatever. But when I started on this journey 16 years ago, number one, I had no idea what it was. I just knew I could not stay how I was. But my conversation 16 years ago is totally different than what it is now. I took more responsibility for my words and what I say now than I did before, because now I understand the weight of my words and how they impact me immediately and how they immediately impact those around me, my girls, my friends, my family. And it has saved me becoming more aware of my words. And here's the thing, I don't know where I think I read this. I taste my words before I spit them out to someone else. I taste my words before I share them with somebody else. Meaning, I try my best, and I may not always be good at this, but I try my best to think before I speak. I try my best to think about the words that are about to come out of my mouth before they come out of my mouth. Sometimes I don't always do that, but this is something I've also learned along the way, that as I have grown on this journey, that my words have also grown. And as my words have grown, then I've grown as a person. So therefore my language has changed. My words have changed with me, and I can better articulate what it is that I need and I want better than I could 16 years ago. 16 years ago, my conversation was totally different. So, your mama used to say, I said what I said. Or she would say, don't let me tell you again, you heard what I said. Your words have meaning, y'all, and they carry weight. Excuse me. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character. They go hand in hand. The more I have grown on this journey, the more mindful of the words I am, that I use. The more I've grown on this journey, the more it has changed. It has allowed space for me to be more comfortable with who I am and to adjust to that and what that looks like for me, and being able to articulate that. And being able to articulate it in such a way that I take responsibility for what I said. I take responsibility for how I said it. And I take responsibility for those were the words that I meant to say. And I'm unapologetic about it. Period. But on that journey and in that growth process, that's where you learn to taste your words before you see them. Y'all, one of these videos keeps freezing. I apologize. So hopefully this will fix itself, because I've done everything. So hopefully that will work. Let's see. So if we acquire the habit, so as I've grown, I've been more mindful of the words that I'm saying. And because I've been mindful of my growth, and I have been diligent and consistent with what I want to grow, as I figured out what it is I even wanted to grow, as I figured that part out, things changed. My words and my language changed. And like it says, we have to be pure not in speech, but in character as well. My words reflect who I am. Your words and your actions reflect who you are. You can't do a thing and then with malice in your heart and then come back and say, oh, I apologize. That's not what I meant. Your character spoke for your character came into play when you said it. If we didn't mean it, as you grow, it is rare that you will say things that you did not mean. The more you grow, the more you start to walk in what it is that you want and, your journey, the more you say what you want to say, and the more you say it, and the more that you are careful with how you say it, who you're saying it to, and you weigh the weight of those words before they fall out your mouth. So it is rare that I'll say, oh, I didn't mean that. No, I said what I said. I meant that. And it took me a long time to get there. And I ain't even gonna lie, there's some things that I didn't address, but I was saying it in my head. I said what I said. But I also knew that it was part of my growth process, that eventually my character and my words and my thoughts and my actions have got to line up. And so when we acquire the habit, always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility. It is responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. That's how some people can say, girl, I didn't mean that. You know that ain't what I meant. Yeah, it was. You said what you said. And I think that was one of the hardest things. I would tell you that was one of the hardest things I had to accept with friendships. One of the hardest things I had to accept with a lot of people that I called friends. It was a hard thing for me to accept that some of them, they said what they said and they meant it. They did not mean, girl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. No, that was an afterthought. They meant, JoJo, you stupid. JoJo, you crazy. They meant the words that they said previously. They meant, oh, you still working on that little business? Oh, you still do that little morning show? They meant those things. Or, it's cute and all, but you gonna wear that? People mean what they say, and they say what they mean. When you become more conscious of your communication, and you become more conscious of your words, and as your growth begins to deepen, as you begin to take it seriously, then you understand the weight of your words. Then you're more careful of what you say, how you said it, and what's falling out of your mouth. That's how people can say, well, I never thought that way. I never said it, but your character said it before you did. Some of us, our character is speaking well before we speak. Our character is speaking for us. Our character is the things that we do every day. Our character is how we act every day. Our character is what walks out in front of us before we open up our mouth. So if you're not mindful of and I have some friends who have no filter. And I accept and love them for who they are. They absolutely mean what they say, and they say what they mean. I have some friends who have no filter, and they don't think about the words that they say. Communicating that thing, if you have trouble saying that thing, is it something that you really want to say? Let this be a character building exercise. What is it that you want to say? And are you going to stand on what you're saying? Can you stand on it? Or are you going to come back and say, oh, I didn't mean that. Say what you said. Mean what you said. Say it with your chest, as they say. I said what I said. Your words have meaning and they carry weight. Some people say, this is one thing I don't understand. When they say, I'm just going to say what I got to say and it's just going to come out. And I think it is simply because some people are not taking responsibility for the words that they're saying. And so, words just fall out of their mouth, but they're not taking responsibility for where they're landing, how they are falling out, and who they are affecting. Every time you open up your mouth, what you're saying is affecting whoever is listening. If you're yelling at your kids, it is affecting them. You may think it's not. You so stupid. That is affecting your child in the long run. Every day, if your child hears those words, it believes them. Because you're the parent, why wouldn't it believe everything that you're saying to them? Your words have weight. Allow your words to be part of your character building exercise. If you're going to say what you said, be mindful of what you're saying. So I don't understand when people say, I'm just going, I just said it and it, that's just how I am and I tell it like it is. But are you being mindful of what you're saying, who you're saying it to, and how it's affecting them? I think there is a way for you to tell me something and me accept it. And there's a way for you to tell me something and me not fully comprehend anything you said. Y'all remember the Cosby Show when Vanessa brought home Thaddeus? Remember that? And her family didn't know. And Bill Cosby said, "This is what you've done." He went and got the trash can lid and he put the steak on the trash can lid. He said, "You may have been a steak, but my daughter brought you to us on a trash can lid. So we can't even see that you're a good person because of how she presented you to us. Like you could have been the best steak, you could have been the best meal, the best person, but it was in the presentation, how you brought it to us, that we do not receive it." And that has stuck with me for since I was a kid. And so it makes me mindful. How am I presenting my words to someone? And I think about it when people communicate to me. If you are trying to tell me something that is detrimental to my health, like, "JoJo, you need to know this. You need to understand this." Are you presenting it to me in a garbage can? Or are you presenting it to me in such a way that I can receive what you're saying? And some people argue and say, "JoJo, but the information is the same." Yeah, the information is the same, but you have the responsibility of your words and the weight of your words and how you present them. Because you could be telling me something that's going to change my life instantaneously. But how you give it to me, if I don't receive it, the opportunity you had to change my life is gone. Because we do not understand, we don't take responsibility for what falls out of our mouth. And so instead of changing a life, you are hindering one. Instead of guiding your children, you could be hurting your children. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I grew up and I got past it. Mama talked to me like that." But did you really get past it? Did you really? Did you really get past how your mama and daddy talked to you? Or is it still in the back of your mind? Does it still bother you? And yet we do it to our children. Are we going to take responsibility for our words? How are you presenting the things? When you get in the habit of always meaning what you say, then you have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in your character as well. So when you're mindful of what you're saying, and you said what you said, it is also a character building exercise. Absolutely a character building exercise. So your words carry weight. Don't be like Vanessa and present Thaddeus on the trash can lid. Be mindful that what you're saying is so essential and important to the listener. And I've become a better listener. When I became more aware of the words that I was saying, I became a better listener. Because then it made me think about that this person, whoever I'm communicating with or whoever is communicating with me, their words are so important that they chose me to say the words to. So if your words was important enough for you to articulate them, if your words were that important, and your words are so important that you chose me to share your words with, how could I not respect and honor by paying attention to the words that you're saying to me? I have become more participant in conversations. I've become more aware in conversations. I've become a better listener because I'm mindful of what, if I have to say anything, I'm mindful of the words that's going to fall out my mouth. Number one. Number two, I know that my words carry weight, life and death, period. Number three, on this journey, I have become more aware of my words, that they impact me instantly before they impact anybody else, because I'm thinking them here first, right? And because I am now paying attention to my words, it has allowed me to become a better listener. Because if you have called me or text me, or we've interacted in some conversation somehow, some way, I feel like it is an honor then, and I had the responsibility to pay attention to the words that you're saying to me. Because you didn't have to communicate with me. You didn't have to say, hey, Judge, I got something to tell you. You didn't have to tell me that. And you didn't have to share with me. So how could I not take time to listen and respect your words if I want you to respect my words? So on this wonderful day, I said what I said is the thought of the day. The quote of the day: if we acquire the habits of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. Y'all, be mindful of what you're saying today. Be mindful of the words. If someone has chosen you to tell you something, be responsible with their words and listen to them. Be responsible with how you're going to respond back. Be mindful that your words carry weight. And be mindful of what this person chose you to share their thoughts, their feelings, and their words. The least we can do, the bare minimum we can do, is be mindful of the words that we're saying back to them. If your kids come to you and say, Mama, this hurts. Mama, I don't understand this. It ain't to get on your nerves, which, hey, I'll be the first one to say, Lord, y'all get on my last nerves. It is because they respect you enough to come to you to ask you a question. Be responsible with your responses back. Because how you speak to your children is how they will be as adults. How do you speak to your children is how they will be as adults. You stupid. You crazy. You ain't gonna be nobody. You can't do that. If you always tell your child what they cannot do, how are they supposed to know the dream? Because you are their guiding force. To them, you are everything on earth. They don't even have a concept of God himself, the divine. All they know is mama and or daddy. And so you are their entire world. You are their definition of what the world is. And what are you showing your children that the world is? And you may say, JoJo, it's not that serious. Look at how you turned out. Look at how your mama's words shaped you into the person that you are today. Good or bad. Look at how let me tell you something. And I want y'all, and I'm going to end the show. But I want you to look at this. And I want you to think about this. Y'all, this is my back scratcher. People keep asking me, this is my back scratcher because my back is itching. I want you to pay attention. Look at your life right now. How many of us, and I want you to, and you ain't got to be honest with nobody but yourself. How many of us, we are living where we're living now, and this is how important your family words are, your mother's words, your father's words. If growing up, your mama always said, you ain't never going to be nobody. You stupid. You ain't ever going to do good in school because you're just like your daddy. You're just like your mom. You ain't ever going to leave this place. You're going to be sitting right here. How many of y'all took those words and internalized them and allowed them to build your life and who you are right now? Some of us, we are where we are, how we are because of how our parents spoke to us and built us up. That's why some of us can never leave where we are. Because our parents have ingrained in us so hard that this is all you can get. Some of us can't receive more blessings because our parents have entrusted their words of lack of wisdom on us that we can't have anymore. And I'm not saying our parents are bad. Nope. I'm saying that perhaps they were not mindful of the responsibility of the words. See, every time you say a word, you're planting a seed. Whatever you wish to see grow is falling out of your mouth. So if you continue to, and it hurts my feelings when I see parents yell at their kids and say, you stupid, you ignorant, you ain't ever gonna be nothing, you can't read. And when I tell you it made me angry, it makes me so mad, because you have no idea how you may be setting your child up for failure for the rest of his life, because you are his guiding force. And you are telling this child that their life means nothing, and that they absolutely don't have any direction and no reason to hope and dream. Because you're not taking responsibility for your words. And maybe you're not taking responsibility for your words because your parents didn't take responsibility for their words. Hey, let me tell you, my growing up, listen, it wasn't the best, okay? I grew up in an abusive home, and I heard those words. And it takes a strong mind to say, I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to live past that. But what about that kid that's not strong? What about that kid that can't comprehend that they can be different? Maybe you're that kid. Maybe you wake up every morning and you hate where you are. You hate your job. You hate where you live. But you assume, like yesterday, that you can't grow because somebody was not responsible with their words with you. They told you were stupid. They told you couldn't do nothing. Maybe a teacher told you that, or maybe you didn't have things happen along the way where people said things to you and you begin to accept the words that they said, and you never challenged it. You never challenged what mom and them said. You never begin to think that they wasn't right because they was your mama. You never begin to think that wasn't right because that was your daddy or your teacher. And you are where you are because somebody was not responsible with their words. What if they were responsible with their words? Where would you be? Now, my sister and my brother, you have the responsibility of being responsible for your words with your children now. With your nieces, your nephew. Shoot, you have the responsibility of using your words with your parents now. Please understand, it's full circle. Now you're in the position to be responsible for the words that you say to your parents. That's going to set them up for the rest of their life, because they weren't responsible with their words. So now it's you who's going to teach them how to be responsible with their words. And so let's not tear our children down. Let's not set our children up for failure when they ain't even tried, and you're already telling them they're failing because you're not responsible with your words. And I promise, if we get down to the basics, and that's why self-care is gangster, when you get down to the basics and you start dealing with that stuff, some of us may realize that our whole hindrance in life, why we haven't grown, why we have not moved, is simply because someone was not responsible with their words, and they told us something. And because we loved them and they were a parent or a trusted friend or a grandparent, we accepted their words as so, and we never moved past it. Because somewhere along the way, them telling you whatever they told you made you think you can't have no more than what you got right now. Somewhere along the way, you assumed that there was no more blessing for you, that you couldn't have any money, that you had to work that job and make $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12, $15, $20 an hour. You accepted that because that's what they told you. And because you loved, honored, and respected them, and they said what they said, that's where you are. Your words have meaning and they carry weight. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, then we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. Be mindful of what you're saying today. Be mindful that every time you open up your mouth, you are changing the world. It is that You may think it's not simple, but every time you call your child stupid, every time you tell your daughter she's ugly, every time you tell your little son he can't do something, you are changing their life every single day. Every time you open up your mouth, you are changing their life. Get off of me. Don't touch me. Don't do that. And you've never given that child the space they needed to grow, hope, and dream because you're snatching it away. And are you doing that because somebody snatched yours away? And you feel like, oh, well, I got past it. They'll grow past it. But what if they don't? What if they become an older version, a younger version of you? That breaks my heart. That makes me want to cry because we're not mindful of the words that we say to our children. And we're setting our children up for failure. We're setting our friends up for failure. Your friend could come to you, and because they trust you and love you, and they come to you with their words to tell you this thing, and with your words, you tear them down. And I've had that happen. That's a hurtful feeling. So on this wonderful day, know that your words are your character. Your words are your character. Plain and simple. Your words are your character. Be mindful of what you're saying. I said what I said. Your words carry weight. Be mindful of what you're teaching your children. You are either building them up or tearing them down. Just because you survived it doesn't mean they will. Doesn't mean they have the same strength and gumption you had. And you can say, oh, well, they'll figure it out. Why would you want that for your child? So be mindful that what you're speaking to your children right now, your niece and your nephew, you're setting them up to move them or stop them. You're either killing their dreams because that's what your mama did to you, or you're giving them space to grow. That boy, he can be wherever he want to be. He can be a doctor. He can be a scientist. The girl, she can be a doctor, a scientist, a model. She can be all the things. Now, I might have grew up in an abusive household, absolutely. But what Joe Whitell told me is I can be whatever I want to be. If I wanted to be a doctor, he said I was the only one stopping me from being one. He said, Jojo, don't tell me you want to be a doctor and you ain't doing the work that you ain't doing what you need to do to be a doctor. You want to be president, but you ain't doing nothing to be president. Be mindful of the things that you're saying to your children. So on this wonderful day, y'all, please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel where they can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. This will be a podcast shortly. Remember, your words have meaning and they carry weight. If we acquire the habit of always meaning what we say, we have the responsibility of being pure, not just in speech, but in character as well. So I hope this has helped somebody. I don't know why technology will not allow me to be great. Maybe I'll come back on and we'll do a midday Fearless Morning show later on to see if the internet gets a little bit better. So if this has helped you, please let me know. Please make sure you share the show. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Please be peaceful, period, because there's nothing after that. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Please, today, be mindful of your words. Right now. When you hit the end button or you go on and you can say, JoJo crazy, I can say whatever I want to say. But I bet you what? I bet you today, for the next 15 minutes, you're going to think about every time you open up your mouth. I bet you're going to think about, are you killing your child when you open up your mouth? Are you giving them life every time you open up your mouth? I bet for the next 6-7 minutes. I bet you for the rest of the day, you're going to think about that. I promise you, if you change how you talk to your child just today, watch your child's actions change. You won't be saying, oh, my child is bad, getting on my nerves. No, they're acting according to your words. That's how they're acting. Because your words are your character and you're building their character right now. Just for today. I guarantee for the next 10 minutes, if you try it and come back and tell me. And you ain't even got to tell me. Try it. When your child wakes up, but for that first 15, 20 minutes, give them that good morning, sweetie, that loving space. Give that to them that first 15, 20 minutes. Don't complain to them. Don't yell at them. Change what you say just for the first 20, 30 minutes that your kids are awake. I promise you'll have a different child within that first 20, 30 minutes. I guarantee it because I've seen it happen. I guarantee. There have been kids, and I ain't even a great parent. Honey, I'm mediocre at the best. But I've had children who act a fool with their parents. And the minute they come to me, the things they exhibit with their parents, they don't do here. Build your words, build character. How you say your children is acting and you say it to their face, that's how they going to act, because they want to please you. And they want to give you mama whatever she says. So if mama say I'm bad and she keep telling me that, that's what she must want that from me. I guarantee you. And you can call me tomorrow and cuss me out. You can send me a message this evening and say, JoJo, that didn't work. Well, look how many years you've been telling that child that they ain't nothing, they stupid, they slow, they like they daddy, they bad. Look how many years you've been telling that child that. But I promise, if you could start their morning off with that, you'll have a different child by the afternoon. I promise you. It's that simple. And then you'll be amazed at the weight of your words. All right, guys, have an amazing day. And I'll see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.